There may be a situation when you want a view engine to search different locations than the MVC defaults. For example, let's pretend we're building a content management system that includes basic theme support. We want to modify the Razor View Engine so that it looks inside of a folder called Themes first. If it doesn't find the view there, it falls back to the default MVC folder structure. We can do this by creating a custom view engine. Let's begin by right-clicking on our project and choosing to add a new folder. We can call this extensions again or whatever you'd like. Now let's right-click on that new folder and choose to add a new class. Inside the dialog window, let's give that class a name of Theme View Engine. Go ahead and choose to add that, and Visual Studio will open up our new file. Inside this class, first we want to make sure that it inherits from the Razor View Engine class. I'll add that at the end, and also just bring in the MVC using statement for that. By inheriting from the Razor View Engine, we will gain access to all of its default search locations, as well as any new ones that we add ourselves. The way we will add new locations is through a constructor. So within our class, let's type public theme view engine, and then stub out that method. The view engine exposes two properties that we want to set: the view and partial view location formats. These properties accept arrays of strings that define the search locations for our view engine. I'll just paste the paths we need to avoid any format typos. We are setting the path to search a root folder called theme, which we'll add in a minute. We are also using the familiar controller and view structure through the 0 and 1 placeholders that we discussed in the slides. So that's all we have to do for this class. There really isn't that much to it. Now we just need to add in that theme directory that we're referencing. So let's right-click on our project again and choose to add another folder. We can name that theme. After that's created, let's right-click on the new theme folder and add a subfolder called home. This is just to mirror the default controller directories. Remember, we want to override the default views, so it's more readable to just mirror the existing structure. One other thing we have to do is copy the web config and view start files. The web config will make sure that our views are served up properly and cannot be accessed directly as files. The view start folder will help to bring in our layout file. In a real theme, you would probably want to override the layout file as well, but we'll leave it for right now. One last thing we have to do is register our view engine with the application. We can do this inside the global.asax file. So if we head over there, we can add a line of code to the application start method. So we can type viewengines.engines.add and then pass in a new instance of our theme view engine. Before we run the application, let's delete the index file out of our default views folder. I'm just doing this for a moment to illustrate a point. With that removed, we can go ahead and start up the app. When the browser page loads, let's navigate to our home page and you'll see we get this error. If you read this carefully, you'll see our application is listing out the locations that were searched for a view. Most of these locations are the default Razor views, but at the bottom you'll see our theme directory. Because the Razor view engine couldn't find a view, our application then asked the theme view engine to try and find one. Unfortunately, it couldn't find one either, so let's fix that right now. Back in Visual Studio, let's stop our application. I'll right-click on the default home folder and choose to add a new view. We can call it index and then just add it to our project. This is a pretty simple view by default, but I'll just change the text in our h2 tag to something that identifies it as the default view. After that's finished, let's just copy the default view we created into the home folder under our themes directory. So I'll paste that in there and then we can open it up, and we just want to change the text to identify this as our theme view. With both of those added, let's go ahead and run our application again. If we navigate to the home page again, you can see that we no longer have our error. However, this is still not what we want. Remember, in the beginning we said the default views should only be displayed if there is no replacement available in the theme directory. We added an index view to both, so why is the default being displayed? The last time we ran our application, the search locations were printed out on the screen. Remember that our theme directory search was actually at the bottom of that list. That's because our theme view engine is being evaluated after the Razor engine. If Razor finds a view in its search locations, our custom view engine will never be used. We need to prioritize our view engine first. Let's head back to Visual Studio to fix this. First, let's stop our application and then head over to our global.asax file again. Inside of here, you can see that we registered our view engine using the add method. Add places our view engine at the end of the collection. We want it placed first. So instead of add, let's switch this to use the insert method. Insert allows us to specify an index, so I'll choose 0. Now our view engine should run first. Let's start the application back up and see what happens. Now in our browser, we can see the index view that sits inside of our themes directory. This is what we want. Our view engine now evaluates first, and if it finds a theme view, the Razor view engine will never check the default locations. This illustrates that the order in which view engines execute, as well as the places they search, can have a big impact on the results you receive from the MVC pipeline.